Welcome back, folks. It's the Global Speedrun Association back at it again with another 70-star race, this time between Counterlogic Gaming's Cheese and Heisenburger. I'm Electric, and I'm joined in the comms booth now by Markinator99. How are you feeling before this race, man?
Oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm always excited to see a good match. It's Cheese versus Heisenburger. It's going to be really fun. Heisenburger, lesser known than Cheese is, but still an amazing 70-star runner, so I'm expecting something good.
Yeah, Cheese is obviously a bit of a household name at this point, but we've seen before he's not indestructible, having that double loss to Benji, for instance, last season. We've seen that very capable high-level players can dethrone him, and Heisenberger is one of those types of players. So we'll see what happens here in this race. I don't think Heisenberger's quite on exactly the same level as Benji, but he is still close, so we'll see what type of day it is. And of course, Cheese been running a lot of 120 star recently. I'm not sure when exactly this race was recorded, but I'm sure before BTR. So probably doing a lot of 120 prep for that. There's a lot of similar stars, but there are a few things that do vary. For instance, Wet Dry Roll 100 coin is done with secrets in 70, but reds in 120. And then Lava Boost, for instance, you never do in 120, but you always do in 70. So it'll be interesting seeing how those little differences might be affecting Cheese as he plays through. Even though Heisen has also been focusing on 120, he hasn't had that big event coming up to be practicing a bunch for. So he might be a little bit more in standard 70 racing for.
Right, yeah, and I know Cheese definitely really enjoys 120, and with the bounty going on, that actually he just got at BTR, but he was 100% grinding out 120, and I know hadn't practiced 70 pretty much at all. So Heisenberger might be a bit more practiced than Cheese is, so that could definitely play a part in how this race goes. And like you said, Lava Boost with LLL is an insanely hard trick, easy to mess up, so that'll be interesting to watch.
Oh, that was some beautiful sync right there. Both of them going for the same type of Lakitu.
Oh, Cheese didn't get the camera.
So a little bit awkward there, moving towards BOB, but it's kind of funny how Cheese is really the last top runner that still does that kick to the side Lakitu skip setup. It's just, it makes the camera so nice because you're facing dead on down the bridge that he just prefers that simplicity over that extra like 0.1 of a second you'd save by using like the long jump setup or the jump dive setup.
Yeah. I definitely agree that he enjoys it better. I think it's just reset's sake, especially here in races. I'm sure you always see him do it, but yeah, even in runs that he does, he just hates resetting, especially over bridge. So he just decides to take the 0.1 second loss.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it's at this level, obviously it works. We've got him holding the world record in 100%, 120 star, and was a former record holder in 70 for a very long time. So, and yes, to answer the question in chat, both players do have the option of using a face cam. So if one doesn't decide to, but the other does, this is the result. It's just a matter of personal preference. Some runners will kind of feel a bit of pressure from having the camera on, knowing that people are watching how they're reacting. So they just prefer to have it off to remove that pressure entirely.
Yep, Cheese very happy with that slide time. Does Cheese actually stream while he records these?
I believe typically no. Mainly because like the live presentation is an important aspect. So like even though these runs are pre-recorded, no one's seen them before.
Never seen before. Got it. His reactions are just on par with what you would expect with him, with an audience watching him.
One thing that might contribute to that is a lot of times runners will actually be in a Discord call together when they're racing. It's easy to kind of think sometimes of all these guys as intense rivals that don't really like associating and they focus on their own. But a lot of the time behind the scenes, there's like friendly banter going on in a private Discord call. So it really just depends. And we are receiving word from the back. There are ways to see these races when they do happen live. Oftentimes they are streamed. It's just typically on alternate accounts. So if you are close enough to either runner, you might be able to ask for one of the names of their alts, but I certainly wouldn't depend on that. There's a reason they stream on the alt instead of their original account, and that's typically just because they don't really want their whole audience to be like, oh, they're streaming today, cool, I'd like to watch, when typically they'll just be doing this race and then they're done. Heisenberger having a little bit of an issue with Alice, but it looks like the second attempt will be good to go there.
Yeah, definitely. Heisenburger is a bit behind. Cheese did take the early lead there. But getting Owless and Canalus out of the way is just so nice.
Oh yeah.
Especially in a race setting.
Yeah, it's nice to just get the painful stuff out of the way first, and it goes back to, I've talked about this in previous races, like acclimating yourself to a stage. With a star like Wumps 100, the cycle these guys are going for is very nice and tight. You want to make sure that you're mentally prepared for that star, and doing quick one-off things first can help you mentally prepare. Be in that mindset of, I'm in Wumps, this is what I have to do to get through Wumps. You know, I feel like it's a bit easier. Yeah, that's gonna be a little awkward backing up, but it shouldn't be too bad. Especially because like he's already got this line anyway. It's just going to be a bit of an extra turnaround compared to what he's normally used to.
Yeah, sorry I didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah,
you're
definitely
totally
getting
fine.
those 2 stars out of the way. Yeah, they're not too easy. They're not the most difficult, but yeah, they're really nice to get out of the way. And like you said, they're kind of introductory to the fortress itself.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like when you're commentating and you're gonna go on a tangent about something, you should just expect to be interrupted when stuff happens. That's just, if you get upset when someone interrupts you, it's a little on you. So don't worry about it. Anytime.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, but yeah, I mean, it was a good thought to finish out. But both of these players really neck and neck. I mean, Cheese just has a few second lead here.
Nice wild blue from Cheese there.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see how Heisenburger
going to be doing his.
That's one little instance where there's a nuance of the camera that can mess you up. Like when you get down to that like little sub area where the blue coin switch is, if you just hit Lakitu cam to the left once, when you get down there, it'll look like you have a similar camera angle to these guys, but if you try the side flip that they do, it won't wall kick. You have to hit left one more time, and for some reason, it just barely shifts it a little more, and that makes it to where going forward directly with your side flip will wall kick.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with the mountain being right there. Lakitu doesn't do well being next to walls and mountains and stuff, so yeah, pressing the camera, these top runners know exactly when to do it, and it can be really tricky, especially when you're first learning.
Yeah, and when you're learning and you're trying to figure out the nuances of the camera, it's weird to, on every star, try to figure out, okay, how will the camera move if I do this, if I hit the buttons like this? Oh, she's trying to do it back up there.
Oh, he got it.
Okay, at least he didn't slide all the way down. That's way less costly than it could have been.
I was expecting him to slide all the way down there.
The double jump tower strat. I have not really seen that from Cheese ever. Wow, that's normally a D whatever special.
That is a pretty wild strat, considering that the triple jump isn't free by itself.
Oh, right, exactly.
That's pretty awesome to see.
What's really interesting about that, though, is like in Bowser stages, we talk a lot about moving platform cycles, and you'd probably think that the tower would be the same, but it's not. If you mess up on your movement getting up towards the tower, but you're still fine on your actual like long jump up the slope and then jump off the slope to the base of the tower, like that platform will still be right where you need it to get the triple jump. It's really strange. It's a local cycle for some reason. So
yeah, it's like it doesn't spawn until you actually get up there, or like the movement doesn't start. Yeah.
And it's weird, like compared to the Bowser stages, obviously that moving platform in Dark World doesn't spawn at the very start of the stage, but it's still moving. It's really interesting to see how those little things were programmed in. But we got Cheese in wing cap now. Watch this flying. This is about to be pristine right here.
Cheese, basically the best flyer in the game.
See, he holds that nice horizontal for a little bit before that ascension, keeping that downward speed. And those turns are just picturesque. Heisenburger, meanwhile, unfortunately flying right past the first set, taking a more direct line between the coins. That arc was a lot better. Ultimately, if he hadn't missed those first ones, he wouldn't be losing too much time compared to Cheese. His flying was not bad. It was just that miss that really messed him up.
Yeah, not at all. And definitely once you miss those first 2 coins, your speed and your angles are really off for the first 2, but he corrected it really well, was able to pick up the speed back.
Now, one thing that's really bad about having to like hit the switch the way Heisen did is if you get a frame perfect rollout when you touch down on the tower, Mario's rollout will be like 20 feet long and you'll probably just fall off the tower. So you have to like make sure to get a little bit of dust there and then go ahead and do your turnaround to get onto the switch. Whereas if you're actually facing the switch because you didn't miss coins, you're in a much better position to like potentially even roll out on the switch and use that speed to your advantage.
Right, yeah, the rollout acts basically like a speed kick in that instance.
Yeah, it preserves your speed right there.
All the speed, yeah. So one of
Cheese
those
with a
little
very nice
nuances.
shig. Very clean Dark World from Cheese, and Heisenburger also setting up for a very nice clean Dark World.
Yeah, he's looking good. Ooh,
Nice,
damn.
nice accounting for that. Yeah, that was a really nice backup.
But
You can tell he spent some
Poverty
time in
Shig.
this stage. And very clean pop shig at that.
Poverty Shig is much harder to hit than people think. Like that long jump to the middle platform is much safer than it is long jumping before the cheese block. But the angles that you have to hit after trying to get the second to last coin or third to last coin is kind of awkward because the camera is really awkward. At some point, you're not going to be able to see where exactly you're going if you're trying to do it quick enough.
It's really only something to consider a lot. Either if you're just okay with doing the movement for normal cycle because you just lost enough time that shig would be kind of awkward to wait on, or if you just somehow get to shig so early that like the waiting around on the needle platform would also be awkward. Like it's really just there for situations where normal shig just doesn't quite work for some reason.
Or maybe if you missed the last long jump to set up the long jump to the middle platform.
Right, like if you get lucky and you bonk into the green area instead of outside of it, and you're able to continue from there.
Right.
A lot of the time, whenever I bonk on that long jump, I just fall right off the stage, and it's like, great, thank you.
Reset.
Just tap the button. Honey, get the camera. We're going back to Wumps.
Yeah, but both of these players doing extremely well. Cheese actually did gain a bit of time fighting the Bowser. Heisenburger missed the first throw. But missing that first throw doesn't lose too much time unless you throw Bowser off the actual stage. So just a few seconds lost there for Heisenburger, but they're really not far behind. I mean, Cheese entering the store at like 11:05. Heisenburger probably about 10, 13 seconds apart.
It's really not a bad lead just yet. Now, Cheese, I've never understood this camera angle Cheese uses here, but it just works for him. Now, Cheese doing a little bit of crawling on the ground, just, you know, Mario prepping to backflip there. Didn't lose that much time, though.
Had to wipe off the hands so we could get the wall jump there. Just a little preparation.
Yes, both our players are now in Cold Fortress. That is the name of this stage. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Cheese is using all sorts of weird camera angles here. Like, he started the camera angle for that jump, like, facing the normal angle for wall kicks will work. Like, Hori things. Cheese uses a Hori. He does what works. You just can't question it at a point.
Is that the reason that he does it?
Oftentimes,
the angle's
yes.
just that different for Hori? Typically.
A lot of the time, like, it's not necessarily it's a combination of things. The stick is also more sensitive in addition to the angles being weird, and hitting out of notch angles is also weird. Like, on the normal N64 stick, when you hold the stick, like, I don't know, like 10% away from the up left notch towards up, you get a predictable result that matches that, like, with what the game reads. But on a Hori, at that same angle, it probably would still read it as an up left, and then as you keep moving, all of a sudden it like shoots towards the middle. It's like when you're moving between the notches is where it starts to get really weird. So
you have to really set up those notches for every angle.
Yeah, so like you'll notice if you ever watch Cheese do 120, he does topless completely different from anyone else because he has to. That's really where you're seeing the controller make a ton of difference. But I think a lot of these like weird cams is just it's more comfortable for him on the controller. It'd probably be easily possible to do the normal cams. It's just he's probably been doing enough experimenting with other very precise things like topless that he just at one point in time experimented with the camera on these things and decided this works better for me. I feel like he's definitely done a lot more experimenting with like all kinds of strats for certain stars than a lot of other people. I think a lot of other people will probably try out like maybe a couple, maybe 3 things and then settle on something. But he's probably done a lot of like even personal experimentation with alterations that we've never really seen.
Yeah, and that's probably just part of being on top. You know, everybody else, consistency is a huge factor in this game. So if you try a new strat and it only saves a little bit of time and it's, you know, you're not super consistent, you know, it's typically just easier to keep doing whatever you're doing. But his Cheese is probably constantly trying to find all these new strats to save a little bit of time and is willing to test them out and play around with them.
Well, you would actually think that, but in a lot of cases, it's been noted that Cheese kind of tends to go a little bit more towards consistency than all out speed. He will update strats if they're pretty easy to adopt and faster, but there are certain bits of his movement that are a tad outdated, mainly just because he's so comfortable with it at this point that trying to adapt it for fractions of a second would ultimately cost consistency. Punkish is also one that a lot of other runners will kind of point out that a number of his strats and movement are a little bit outdated, but it lends him more consistency because of it.
Yeah, I definitely know that's something Puncation is used to, and Heisenburger falling off.
Yeah, taking the ground pound instead of a long jump there, the Z input just coming a little bit too late there.
Yeah, once you're not standing on the ground and you hit Z, you automatically do a ground pound. I think he just slightly slipped off. So when he hit Z, he just ground pounded all the way down.
Yeah. You know, Cheese and BBH gonna be leaving now though, since he's doing the CCM17 route. So we didn't actually talk about this earlier. There's a bit of a route difference. It looks like Cheese is way ahead, but that you do notice on the star counter, he has one less star than he should at this point. That's intentional. So he got one less star in CCM because he got 100 coin with just standard slip sliding away rather than racing the penguin. So now in SSL, he will have to do pillarless twice. Once to get the normal star that you always get with plus in 70, but then another time to get the secrets star inside the pyramid. So Cheese is very, very confident in his plus, especially when he just does the standard plus, no Tama. But there are times where we just see inconsistency, so we'll have to see what happens here.
Yep, yeah, very finicky strat for anybody of any level, but getting that big bomb, and that was a bit of an awkward slide.
Yeah, and he's on kind of a weird side of the pyramid, but he's in there now. Okay. So he's going to go ahead and just do secrets now. He's confident enough that he's going to do the other plus, that he's going to grab the longer star first.
Yep, and so once he grabs the star, you'll kind of see him level out. Or really, once Heisenburger grabs MIPS, you'll be able to see a better time difference. Yeah. So that was the extra star that Cheese was missing. And so you're basically seeing the difference now. So Heisenburger is basically castle movement behind Cheese. He just has to grab this MIPS.
Right. I want to point out real quick, Heisen, when he did that bookcase star, he used a really interesting strat where he did a double jump before the wall kick. You actually, to do that, you have to move the stick just slightly out of neutral. You don't want it going anywhere near the edge of the range, so that Mario will have his angle set where you want it, but he won't be moving very fast. And then you do the kick, and during the kick, you then pull the stick all the way to the left. It's a little weird, and especially if that's one thing that makes Hori really weird to run this game on, is strats like that, because the difference between just slightly moving the stick and really moving the stick is way tinier on Hori than it is on N64. So the strat that Heisen did, you really don't see too often, because most players that will look for something faster than the balcony wall kick will just do the speed wall kick on that same spot with the side flip. But it's interesting to see Heisen still doing that strat, because it is a little faster than the other strat that we've seen other runners do. So Heisen with his single plus going just fine. And now Cheese just picking up the last star in the stage. This star can be a little weird. You can lose a second here without really understanding why. Just because it's a little weird making sure Mario's angle off the slope slide is actually pointing right at the star. You want to be like pointing the stick slightly to the right of up, like nowhere near the notch, just slightly out of the up notch. That way when Mario like comes off the slide, his speed will be directed kind of more towards the right side of the pyramid, so that you're not having to like adjust to get out of the way of that little lip where you're normally supposed to grab the star.
Right.
Nice res from Cheese there, as Heisenburger is about to enter LOL in just a little bit.
Yep, he's got to grab his last star here, and Cheese had a really good SSL. I mean, it was basically perfect doing double pedalless. So Heisenburger not able to gain any time. So Cheese really has to just maintain his lead here. He's got a decent enough lead. He's about 1 star ahead, and so Heisenburger really hoping that he makes some kind of mistake. But plenty of gameplay to go. Definitely not over by any means.
Oh, Bison bonking on the edge of the stage and then not grabbing the star. That's double hurt because already that bonk is slower than flying right into the star. But at least you're like, oftentimes you'll just kind of take your hand off the controller and be like, okay, I'm done with the star now. I bonked. But luckily Heisen didn't there. And doing the jump dives here for Reds. Very nice.
Yeah, tiny things like that are definitely very tilting in this game. And these runners are pretty good about not letting them get to him. Knowing that it's just a tiny time loss and it's not that big of a deal.
In all honesty, a lot of the grind is improving your mentality rather than your gameplay. It's very hard to play when your mentality is bad, and when you first start running this game, it's very easy to get mad. So, like, developing your mentality to a point that you can just brush off mistakes and not even necessarily be mad. I had a run the other day where I just had a completely abysmal TTM, and I just couldn't play after that. I was beyond mad to the point that everything was just funny to me, and I was still playing like garbage, even though I wasn't angry. Like, it's just, you have to develop the ability to just forget about mistakes, forget about how bad or good a run is, and just play. You know, she's unfortunately taking that very weird movement there. Like, I'm not sure what happened.
Taking the death.
That's a death. Oh boy, that's a costly death too. Heisen has a very nice opening here. It's not going to get him the lead, but he's a lot closer than he was before.
No, they did do different. They have done different stars. So I mean, he probably, you're right. He probably doesn't have the lead, but I mean, it is super close. I'm a little excited to see what it's at now, because that pretty much opened the game up right there. That's what Heisenburger was wanting.
Yup. Both players on same star count, and Heisen just did a longer star of the two, which that triple bully kill was pretty nice as well. One interesting little note is you'll see runners oftentimes try to skip the ledge grab on the wooden platform when they go for big bully, but you won't see them do that for triple, because for triple, the time save actually makes the bullies be in a slightly different spot that makes the triple kill harder.
Yeah, and long jumping to that metal floating platform, you have to waste a little bit of time.
Yeah, see, Cheese is actually going for the triple bully with ledge grab skip, and you see he did miss one. It was just barely missed, but still. It's something that you probably wouldn't really expect from him, but it's probably because he did the ledge grab skip there. Heisen with long jump lava boost here.
It is good. Definitely a very nice start to have under your belt. So he's still like 1 star behind. I would actually expect him to be a little closer to Cheese.
Yeah, but it is elevator tour, which is only like about 30 seconds or so, and I think he was 50 seconds or so starting the stage. So now Cheese going on into chess, and remember how we talked about flying losing a ton of time without realizing it? This stage is exactly the same. It's very easy to lose a second or two and just not really be sure why. Because, like, one thing that you don't really see as a viewer is the whole time they're in this stage, that vortex is pulling them towards the center. So they're having to move most of the time opposite that, but whenever they can, they actually want to try to use that extra momentum to their advantage. So what you might think is the most intuitive, fastest line, it really isn't, because of that additional factor pulling you into the center of the stage.
Yeah, you have to face slightly at a different direction than you want, and as well you have to avoid looking at it too, because it causes so much lag.
Oh geez,
it's extremely obnoxious. You'll see it more in the man array. Cheese did a really good job of just not looking at it, even when he had to do the turnaround.
Yeah, and you'll notice too, like, Cheese was really close to the star at the end. That was also really nice movement. If you're not moving too well past the 4th chest, the vortex will pull you towards it a lot more, and you'll end up being forced to move a lot more towards the star. Just because you won't have the... See, Heisen right now is going to be suffering from that. He went so close to the vortex, he's not really that close to the star. Yeah,
going behind that chest is a lot more punishing than you would think, than just going in front of it.
Now, Cheese misses front sub the first time, it looked like, and he misses it again, this time moving off to the side. Very, very costly to back up. Heisenburger, if he goes for rear sub, will save time. First try fail on front does lose time to rear.
Yeah, Cheese getting in that time. Yeah, that's definitely a really frustrating way to lose time.
Especially because of how much lag the sub gives you. You're just chugging at that point,
right.
And just waiting for your ability to jump out of the water again. It's so infuriating.
Yeah, but also choosing to do a harder strat, wanting to save a little bit of time, and then messing it up so you end up losing time. It's definitely more frustrating than you might think.
Now, Heisenburger taking a lot of dust there. What that probably was the lag made him not able to dive when he thought he should have been. So he probably just mistimed the dive a little bit and then had to realize, oh wait, I'm gathering dust right now. Let me do it again. Now, Cheese in Fire Seed. This is a very big moment potentially for Heisenburger. If Cheese hits Lava Boost cycle, that's not Lava Boost anymore. I don't think that's early LE's capable even. This is huge for Heisen. This could be a 20-second or so time save on the table for Heisen. Let's see what the rest of this looks like. Cheese might be able to resurrect early LEs, but I think it's doubtful already.
I think early LEs is pretty much dead at this point. I mean, early LEs is still pretty tight.
Yeah, you don't have that much more time than Lava Boost.
Yeah, it's surprisingly much tighter than you would think, and I think it's dead because it's already descending.
Let's see. He's got the triple, the wall kick.
He did
barely resurrected early LEs. Oh man, that was tight.
Yeah, having to do that wall kick and then go back to grab the ledge. If he had made any other slight mistake, he would have been dead.
And that was all from just a slight mishap on the metal platform at the start of the stage. That one thing caused all of this.
Just taking that one burn.
That's what this stage does. This stage just does not forgive. But Cheese definitely diffused a time bomb there. He could have lost 20, probably lost 8. That's huge. Heisenburger has a lot to answer for. He can save time, but ultimately Cheese prevented this from suddenly swinging heavily in his favor. Does the double wall kicks there. He's on great pace for Lava Boost. Please get this triple here. Takes that extra lag from the cam just to make sure he's aligned for that triple. And it's good.
Looking good. Ooh, just
Very
barely.
nice.
But he got it.
Yeah, he had to kind of clip up there. It was a little scary, but... Oh, not diving, though. He's not going to be getting the good ending here. That's a little disappointing. Well, let's see what ending he's going to be going for. This is kind of a weird array of things that he's doing.
Yeah, tried to... I know you could jump up there and then long jump and pretty much go around that big platform. But just kind of, I think, mistimed it with the elevator.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that side flip there. It's easier to do the same angle with a single jump and then just wall kick. Maybe he was afraid that the angle wouldn't be good, because if your angle is wrong, you can wall kick right past the other platform you're trying to ledge grab.
Yeah.
But okay, Heisen's in the fight. Meanwhile, Cheese is upstairs coming on into Wet Dry Roll 100. And as we saw in the last race with Gainai, you can lose a healthy amount of time here. But Cheese is actually saving Wet Dry Roll 100 for later, trying to go for that speedy double jump kick strap, but not quite working out for him. He's just going to do it a little slower just to say he can. The no side flip triple there. Jeez. See, this stage, though, like I talked about earlier with Cheese sometimes having some kind of outdated, slightly movement, this stage is not an example of that. He's doing everything high octane here right now.
Yeah, and doing the harder strats on this stage can actually lose a lot of time as well, because if you mess something up, I mean, there's tons of places you could fall down. So like here, like he's gonna do this triple jump onto this gate, and he's got another triple jump, and executing it perfectly, but missing either one of those can lose a ton of time.
Oh yeah, swimming around in this stage feels so slow, just to get anywhere after a fall like that.
Yeah, and when you fall into water, it feels so bad too, because it's like Mario kind of has to gain his composure before he wants to start swimming.
Now, Heisen, interestingly, also not opting for the side flip there. That's a little bit uncommon. I would have expected him to do that. And an interesting strat there, he purposely did a dive rollout. Mario can't take fall damage while he's rolled out, so by making sure the rollout was the last thing to go over the platform there, he didn't have to ground pound or kick or anything as he fell down, so really nicely executed elevator star. I mean, this is very good high-level execution from Heisen right now. We're probably going to see exactly the same here. Yeah, just taking a little bit of time to line it up, but less time than the side flip. Oh, but the triple jump not coming out. He was just too close to the lip. That's such an unfortunate mistake. You've already got the hard triple jump. Yeah, like that would have been perfect. You just need to be an inch further back on that platform. Oh, man. Yeah, I know, right? As a kid, that start was so stressful. Like, oh, will I get down there in time to take the elevator back up? And then speedrunners are just wall kicks.
The elevator's too slow. Gotta speed it up.
Gotta go fast. Cheese on still great coin count. Has that one extra coin here. Heisen now moving on into wet dry 100 himself.
Yeah, some bad RNG there from Heisenburger. Had to take a bit of a detour, but still gonna be all right. Cheese's 100 coin just flew by.
Yeah, he had some really nice RNG.
Oh
and
no!
Super clean movement.
Oh boy! Caster's curse there.
He knows how to back this up though. That's good. And with this, he's practices a bunch. That's not an intuitive camera angle to use, but it does make it easier with practice.
And that triple jump that he just did to get onto this little platform here is super hard. Because if you get too close to that fence, it'll just eat all of your speed.
Yup.
So very clean backup from Cheese. Could have been much worse.
You pretty much have to do that like ROM hack type kick where you do a side flip and then start your double jump like as far back as possible.
Yep. Yeah, I think Cheese ended up like just jump kicking in place essentially just to get that second jump.
Yep. It's a nice dive rollout strat yet again from Heisen going down here. So Heisen is really not that far behind after Cheese's fall down in wet dry 100. It's still a decent distance, but it's a lot better than it has been in the past.
Yeah, Cheese actually did get the THI secrets really cleanly, so hopefully Heisenburger can do the same. But I thought he was done. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So a little further back than the casters were expecting there. But
it's just you gotta understand that we're seeing the video through Discord, and almost every time, no matter how I try to have it laid out, Discord cuts off the star count of the right-hand player. So
yeah,
I try. You can still guess at what the star count is, but you just glance up there, and 8 kind of looks like a 9 behind other Discord icons.
Definitely very frustrating. Just trying to keep up with the counts, but knowing Cheese is about 2 stars ahead now. THI stars though, they're all basically pretty fast.
Okay, nice little kick from Heisen.
Very good lag reduction.
Yeah, that's such a good secret so far. The mountain clip is good. All right.
Yeah.
So our Pia, like on the Twitch stream, it's gonna look totally fine. It's just Discord like has its icons overlaying part of the video feed that's being shared with us. So like that's why we have the issue, but the stream doesn't.
Yeah, it keeps asking me if I want to pin a message, but really I just want to look at the star count. So.
Exactly. Or like if you try to go full screen, it'll show like the icons of people in the call over the star count. What's up, JoJo? How you doing? She's collecting this quick toad star. Toad collecting is a little bit of an art. Like, if you're not careful with talking to Toad, you'll just punch in midair and waste all your time in his. It's easy to just lose time to that for dumb reasons.
Yeah, it's easy to be really aggressive with the Toad. Really shaking him down if you try to talk to him too soon. You know, just punching him in the face.
Oh, Cheese feeling himself on these reds. Speed kick start here. The dive rollout ending to the mushrooms here. Let's see the side flip wall kick here. It's coming up. The triple jump wall kick missing though, but nice backup. Not going to be going for the side flip wall kick after that though.
That would have been a perfect reds essentially if he would have gotten that. That was super clean.
Oh, Heisen missing the mountain clip too. He had really nice movement with that double jump dive, but after that, just not quite.
Yeah, Heisenburger struggling just a bit. I mean, he's still on a really good pace and a really good run. He really hasn't messed up anything major. Just Cheese has just made fewer small mistakes, so is slowly increasing his lead. But Heisenburger, I mean, has still done an incredible job. I mean, getting into Tall Mountain, sub 34 minutes.
Yeah, that's still a feat on its own. And Cheese not doing breezeless, just taking the standard breeze strat on the star. Log wall kicks coming up though.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting that she's decided to do his reds and the Breeze Star prior to the Mountain Clip. Because reds is definitely a backup that you see, not so much the Breeze Star, but it's really only leaving him with one backup to do 2 Mountain Clips.
Yeah, and that's never a super comfortable position to be in, especially because like using the Mushroom Star as a backup does require that you know and are used to the backup strat there, and how to make sure the camera's aligned and Mario's aligned properly to make that work. And the stick movement is a little different, so it can be a little finicky to mess with if you haven't like practiced it in a while. Reds, however, like it's a lot easier with the time you have between where you'll land and where the mushrooms start. It's a lot easier to adjust yourself to get used to a traditional strat.
Right.
She's now going for Mushroom Star here, and it's good to go. Very nice.
So, despite all that talk about with the stars order that Cheese did, was able to pretty much clean it up perfectly without needing anything. Just a bit of a strange order.
Okay, now Heisen's reds here. Oh, that unfortunate bonk on that corner there. His reds were interesting. He starts with the speed kick strap, but then tones it down a little bit with the long jump on the end of the mushrooms. And then once he gets to the maze, tried going for the triple jump wall kick, but then his wall kick directed him right into the corner of a platform. If you ever want to just see how sadistic the creators of this game were, go into the maze, go into C up cam, and just look around. The geometry is awful. There are platforms that purposely are diagonally jutting out a bit to make it so that the higher that you try to go to make it safer to land on a platform, the further out away you have to be from the wall. Otherwise, you'll bonk on something else. It's just, it is sadistic level design.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's one of the harder stars to really get down the movement because, yeah, they put essentially walls like right next to the mountain, so you can't be next to the mountain while you're doing that. You have to jump out to the edge, or you're just bonk everywhere. As well as the lag, just making it all that much worse.
Now, we're seeing right now Cheese actually like having a big issue on Whirl from the Freezing Pond, missing the initial strat, so having to go ahead and take that swimming back up, having to try to swim twice to get onto the slope, and then once he's finally up there, having a lot of trouble breaking the box. Like he probably lost 15 seconds to that or something.
Yeah, I also saw that he kind of messed up the snowman's head, backed it up really quickly, but left another few seconds there for Heisenburger. So definitely an opportunity for Heisenburger to gain up that time. Oh, but he bonks instead. Losing a bit of time.
Yeah, and that backup strat is, it feels kind of awkward, and it's pretty slow. It's like I said in the last race, big head, you either get a 10-second or a 20-second time. You don't really get a mediocre time. You either get good or bad.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially when she bonk, you get stuck in the snow too, which is one of the worst feelings ever, to get stuck in snow or sand.
Oh yeah, it just takes so long to navigate out. She's heading on down to HMC. Eisen just got 2 quick stars to clean up here in SL. And a nice punch grab on Mips from Cheese.
Yeah, definitely the harder bunny to do that with.
Yeah, so in English, the bunnies are actually a different speed. I always get this kind of mixed up, but I believe it's in JP, both rabbits are effectively the 50-star rabbit from English, but for English, the first rabbit is slower.
Right.
Yeah,
they made the English. They didn't have as high hopes for the English people as they did the Japanese, so they made it a bit easier for us.
It's the same reason, for instance, in Majora's Mask, the Postman Heart piece on Japanese, you have to hit the A button once and then exactly 10.00 seconds later. You have to be within 100th of a second. For US, you just have to be within a tenth of a second. 10.0. That's it. So you can kind of see what their opinion is, or at least maybe they just realize how hard some of this stuff is for casual players.
Yeah, especially considering these games were meant for kids. So give them a little grace. was probably the thinking there. But Cheese on a really good pace up here in Hazy Maze Cave.
Oh, 2 ledge grabs on Amazing Emergency Exit there. That star, the way that Cheese just did it, like moving on around the right side of the pit there, it is faster if you don't ledge grab anything. If you do ledge grab stuff, though, the left side is still faster.
Is the right side actually faster than the left side? I was
It is
thinking
just slightly. It's
Okay.
like by a few frames. It's less than half a second, I'm pretty sure.
I had always thought the left side was faster, but it was like much more dangerous if you messed it up. So people typically just go to the right side.
Yeah, if I like at least the examples of both strats that they give on the wiki, the right side is faster, but I think it's a difference of like 11.7 and 11.5. It's something like that. It's very minor. And I think it's really more so just that like with the left side strat, you're right that like if you mess up and your dive doesn't connect with the platform, it's a lot worse. But like you can lose little bits of time on left side without like ledge grabbing. Like if your movement is suboptimal, you might lose a couple of frames, as opposed to on right side when you ledge grab, you've already lost all the time you could save with that strat.
Right. So.
But anyway, Cheese got Christmas Miracle, of course. Heisen with some nice accounting for Boulder RNG. And with that, we got one player going up to Tippy and the other just 2 stars away.
Yep. So yeah, the lead has been the same for a little while now. Heisenburger hasn't gained too much time over Cheese, but we are at the point in the run that can all change in an instant.
Yep.
Tippy being the last 2 stages, 3 if you include Bowser stage, but stages that are pretty much just floating above voids that you could fall off and die into at basically any moment.
Yeah, like one is just sparse platforms all over the place with the game just telling you jump between them. Cheese going for left side Lakitu bounce here. Has the advantage of giving you a dead-on angle on the platform, but it's a lot harder to actually get that triple to connect, and of course, getting the left side wall kick the way you want it. But Cheese is no stranger to this star. Nice double jump there. Like, it's pristine Lakitu bounce.
Yeah, definitely be experienced, and especially like 120 star, I think you have to do that strat twice. So Cheese very familiar with it. Yeah. Tippy's one of the stages where 120 practice probably comes in very handy for 70 star.
Oh yeah, especially like in 70, you're already doing TTC all the way through, so it's the same stage, just the entrance is a little different. And then Rainbow Ride, like all you're doing really is cutting out the hardest stuff. Like you're not doing any stars without 100 coin that you would do with 100 coin in 120. And like you said, like Lakitu bounce, you only have to do once here as opposed to twice. You're not having to deal with the cannon shot, for instance, or like trying to talk to the bomb at some point in the middle of a decently hard reds route. Like, so we see Heisenburger doing a much more traditional Lakitu bounce there. He wall kicked off the right hand moving platform and then did his side flip on the platform he landed on. She's taking a big old fall during reds. That'll lose him a fair bit of time, but a nice backup there.
Yeah, very clean backup, and Reds is a quite of an annoying star because when you bonk, you it just loses time. It's not dangerous compared to the rest of the stage where if you bonk on something you could actually fall off. But losing time in Reds, especially once you know the routes, is kind of annoying because then you have to make adjustments. But yeah, Cheese doing it really well, just able to do a wall kick back up. Heisenburger having a pretty clean reds. Did have to roll out there, but really clean overall.
You know, very nice swinging from Cheese there.
So, time for everybody's favorite stage over on Cheese's side.
Yep, and we're gonna be seeing him start with reds here, as he's tended to do recently. I think this is another case of acclimation. I'm not exactly sure why he decides to do it this way, but I think it's just because he doesn't want to go in and have to do 100 coin just as the very first thing in the stage.
Right. Yeah, I think I saw somebody ask him this question before, and that was basically his answer was just get acclimated. Reds isn't too hard. Going in there with 100 coin, you're essentially doing the entire stage right off the bat.
Yep.
So just getting the first couple stars out of the way, just getting down that movement. He I think helps him a lot mentally.
And I mean, on 100 coin, if you take a big fall, it's not like you're going to want to take a backup anyway. Like once you start 100 coin, you're pretty well locked into it. You're either going to die or finish the star. And, you know, you're not going to get to 50 coins and then say, well, I took a big fall. Let me just grab roll into the cage real quick. Like, it's sunk cost at that point. And even though there might be a couple situations where it would be faster to just take a backup depending on the fall, like overall, you just want to finish the star. So it doesn't really matter to take care of these things that you might consider a backup under normal circumstances.
Yeah,
Heisen getting started with 100 coin. Nice wall kick there that you barely get that wall kick angle. So it's nice to see him get that. Both these players pretty much at the same point in 100 coin, just doing it at different parts of their stage. Nice double jump kick from Heisen to skip that platform there. Well, let's see, this movement can be a little bit weird here. Very nicely done from both players. And neither of them opting to try to do those tricky dives on top of those triangle platforms, so playing it pretty safe overall. Very nice movement from both players. You can actually see they were out of sync a little bit, like in the middle of the star. Heisen was a bit ahead, and by the end, Cheese is ahead in the same star. That's just what you get from practicing it that much.
Oh no, Cheese!
Oh, the thwomp. But then Heisen misses the star on his dive. He dove right under it, it looked like.
That's really unfortunate from Heisenburger. But that was really funny from Cheese, because that was just super unfortunate timing from Cheese there, just getting completely smashed.
I mean, he was about to save a ton of time over Heisen. Oh, that might be Chaos Clock on Heisen's side. I think he might be lucky with fast.
I think he's
that's
good.
fast. Okay. That's like the first frame you could enter fast clock.
Yeah, it's like the that first dot after the 6 is what you're looking like. That or past it is what you need. But yeah, he cut it real close.
That was like right on the dot, geez. Like, see, that's definitely fast on Cheese's side. It's far off the dot, you know it's gonna be fast clock. But yeah, you see, I think Heisen was a bit scared too because he did that extra kick there. He wanted to make sure that it was fast this time. Nice jump dive from Cheese, and again with the time moving from Heisenburger. The strat is just so nice because of where it lines you up to start doing stars in the stage.
Yeah, watching the time moving stars is really quite something. Like just watching these triple jumps off the paddles, super tight timing. The jumps themselves are kind of difficult to get because you have to like hold A to get the height, and then like quickly let go and press it at the right time.
Yeah, it's a lot of precise things happening. Like and there's a few different ways to start it. If you watch different runners, like everyone kind of has what they're the most comfortable with doing that. Like me personally, I like to make Mario run just a little bit forward before starting the kick to start the triple. Because I find that extra speed and the extra time that I wait kind of prevents me from getting to the platforms too early. But every runner will do it differently. Some runners will even like not use the kick at the start. They'll just do a standard single jump. It just depends on what you're comfortable with for it. It's that type of strat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of similar to Rainbow Ride when you do that first triple jump to get up to the platforms. You could do it like a couple different ways. Very similar to that triple jump.
Yeah, except like imagine that instead of the platforms rotating like in a circle clockwise, they were rotating like vertically or something. And that's what you're dealing with in TTC. But Cheese on decent pace for a 49 in this run. Really, really nice performance. Not a ton of major issues of which to speak, just a couple minor things here and there. He had that issue with Reds in Rainbow Ride, had that issue in Fire Sea that he barely converted to an early Ellie's. Like, overall, this is a tale of being able to back up things really, really nicely. When those mistakes come up, he was able to move past them super easily. And this is the result.
Yeah, super clean overall, especially on these Bowser throws. Just needs one more. That barely missed. I thought that was actually going to hit it.
Yeah,
one pixel away.
Quite over, but there it is. Now Heisen's not that far behind. He's going to be able to finish with a pretty decent time himself. And with a 3-throw fight, we could be looking at a 50 on his side, but more likely a low 51.
Yeah, he's going to be teetering right at that 51 because it takes about 1:45 to complete bits in the throws. Maybe less than that.
It's somewhere around there. Oh, Heisen with a little bit of an issue on that movement there, but it's fine. Yeah, an optimal fight, I believe, is about 40 seconds, and if you do the stage really well, it'll take a little less than a minute, but then you have to account for the castle time and like the little cutscene at the start of the actual fight.
Yeah, so maybe it's like 1:35 is really good. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but that's talking like Manamo and like
yeah, like if you do it like
throws.
perfectly, that's what you're looking at. But Heisenburger did actually miss that kick, was able to jump back on that platform.
Oh, trying to go for a side flip on these elevators, but not falling off, fortunately, just having to wait a little longer to get up. So 50 is out of the question, but a 51 is definitely still on the table for him very, very easily, even with a couple misses. So let's see how Heisen's throws go here. So he's grabbing Bowser in a pretty nice position, doing a 3-spin. And that first one is nice. He's got that nice grab. Oh, a little bit far left to center. Yeah, that's not quite there.
Just barely.
He's at a really good position for this one. It's really nice when Bowser ends up in a position where the falling ground can actually kind of serve as a visual cue for how to throw him. Oh, but Heisen, that's one thing that happens. You kind of have a default bias to throw Bowser more towards the center. So when you need to do these off-angle throws, it can be really difficult. 51 definitely still on the table, though. Heisen going to do an extra wind-up just to make sure that...
he could probably miss another throw or two and still get the 51. But isn't going to need it.
Nice ending to the fight, at least. And yeah, it can be a little difficult trying to do a 3-spin throw because it feels like Bowser just kind of suddenly accelerates at the like mid to end of the 3rd spin. So you could see on one of those Heisen actually doing like 4 spins just to make sure he was used to the final speed of Bowser. But with that, 51-52, a nice finish from Heisen and a solid run. Just Cheese is just, you know him and you know how he plays. He just plays out of his mind every race. And this is the result. A really nice 49-36. A couple little bobbles here and there, but overall a really nice, solid run. So GG's to both of these racers. A really nice race. I've got not a whole lot else. Mark, what are your thoughts on this race?
I mean, ending thoughts. I mean, Heisenburger had a great race. Cheese, like you said, I mean, just played it, all like pretty perfectly. Obviously had a few mistakes here and there, but yeah, GG's to both. Excited to see what the next races will be like, and why don't you tell everybody what the next races are going to be?
Sure thing. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks. Right after this, we've got Rock Chalk versus Drogi coming up, and then after that, Punkation versus Benji, and then we're going to be closing out the night with JJ versus Proto Man. But stick around for Rock versus Drogi. That one should be a really nice matchup between two nice mid-top level players that should be putting on a really nice close show for us. So stick around. We've got more Mario action coming up right after this quick intermission.
They are synced now. Do whatever. In the lead again.
Wow. Side for sure from Cheese. Okay, doing it, moving. Oh no, it's